That's what we all come to work every day for. It's not just turning the knobs, it's really kind of inventing your way out of problems that are at a scale that nobody else has.
Day in and day out, we ask ourselves the question, how can we do this better? My name is Nicola. I work for a team called AWS Trusted Advisor. We build a service that analyzes a customer's AWS resources and provides them with options on how to prevent security issues and how to have cost savings.
I'm Gary Gross. I'm the Director of Software Engineering, Training, and Business Operations for AWS Support. We're the front line, so these roles are the ones that are going to be building and delivering the software, working directly with our software engineers, and setting the roadmap, the strategy, how we execute on our goals, and ultimately delivering for customers. So it's mission critical.
A lot of our work too is working across AWS services because these checks, which are basically areas of best practices or improvement, require a lot of collaboration with the different service teams like EC2, DynamoDB, S3, RDS, all the rest of them. I'm Alex. I'm a developer, a part of AWS Support, specifically the Trusted Advisor team.
I feel myself growing both as a leader and my technical chops on a day-to-day basis.
The leaders are genuinely interested in our development. I'm working on challenging problems every day, and I'm working with a group of super talented people. We genuinely care about our customers. I'm Winter. I'm a software developer for AWS Support.
I probably spend 40% of my job focused on hiring, retention, and people development. If you've had a chance to read our Amazon leadership principles, they're probably the most important thing that drive who we're trying to hire. We're looking for an Amazonian at heart.
Basic software development chops are a must for our software developers and for our data scientists, a good background in machine learning. But beyond that, I think it's really important to be interested and invested in the customer experience.
Focus on people, focus on our customers, have fun, and make history.
With AWS Amplify, creating innovative mobile and web apps has never been faster or easier. From development to deployment, AWS Amplify offers a variety of tools for building secure, scalable, full-stack applications powered by AWS. As a mobile or front-end web developer, you're looking for simple ways to develop and add features to your app, like authentication, data, or AI ML. AWS Amplify's development framework enables the use cases you need, powered by AWS services. And Amplify works seamlessly with the tools you already use. You'll have the ability to automatically configure cloud backends with the Amplify CLI, connect your backend to your app with Amplify libraries, and accelerate development for common workflows such as sign-up and sign-in with Amplify UI components. All of this with AWS best practices for security, reliability, and availability built in. Now, deploy your web app with AWS Amplify Console, a fully managed hosting service that serves content from Amazon's content delivery network with hundreds of points of presence globally. Amplify Console has built-in workflows that accelerate development. Simply connect your application's code repository and changes are deployed automatically. Get to market faster with innovative apps that scale as your business grows. Learn more about AWS Amplify at aws.amazon.com/amplify.
There's nothing more powerful in life than trying something new. Learn what a first step towards AWS training and certification means.
The first time I built an AWS data analytics solution for a new use case with minimal research, it taught me that I could tackle any obstacles in life. It felt like when I was at university and got the highest marks for building a new project with zero skills. Back then, I felt the fear of failure might hold me back. Now, as a successful female analyst in the finance industry, I am fearless.
The first time someone reached out to me to thank me for an AWS article I published, it was unbelievably rewarding. I had inspired this person to begin their training journey, but the bigger prize was mine. I had stumbled on a passion for technology writing that until then was dormant. Cloud transformed the way I looked at technology and has been one of my greatest learning inspirations. I am happy to see it is inspiring others too.
The first time I released my own serverless project, I was terrified and exhilarated. It reminded me of my first time skiing. I was an adult, I'd never tried before and fell down constantly. But with some expert help from a great instructor, I found the joy and became very skilled. Back then, I was scared to be near the mountain edge. Today, I'm happiest working at the innovation age.
What will your AWS first be?
For our episode today, we're gonna dive in the field of technology.
Yung study discipline nyo dapat intact siya. In this career, you would really continuously learn and relearn. So it never stops.
Game development industry is a billion-dollar industry, especially globally. Game also steps into the stage. Sila ay producer ng entertainment.
Team collaboration is maganda kasi mostly naman sa software engineering, team effort naman to. So meron kayong software engineer lead, software engineer manager nyo na mag-guide.
Data is the new gold. We are in the 4th industrial revolution. And all of those are digitized form of data, of information. So definitely we will have more opportunities.
This Community Ignite Series Episode 6 and the whole series actually is co-presented by AWS and AWS Club Pilipinas.
Amplify Data Store is an on-device storage engine that makes working with distributed cross-user data as simple as working with local-only data. You can use the Amplify CLI or Admin UI to configure your app backend in minutes. Now we'll show you how to create a database with real-time and offline functionality in the Admin UI without needing to learn database concepts. Model your data. Let's create the schema for a blog. We'd have a post with titles and content, and we'd have comments with text and an author. Connect to your app. You can then test your data locally without an AWS account in just a few commands and a few lines of code. This will work on iOS, web, and Android. For example, here's a React app I built on top of the data model that I just created. Deploy your app. You can then deploy in a few more clicks. You'll get access to the same power of AWS services as Netflix, Expedia, and Twitch without needing to be a cloud expert. Manage your app. After you deploy your app, you can add data directly in the admin UI. There's even a Markdown preview tool. You can also give your team members access to the admin UI to manage applications, content, and data via email. No AWS account needed.
Pangarap mo bang gumawa ng sarili mong mobile game? Gusto mo bang maging Mark Zuckerberg ng Pinas? Mayroong senior high track para sa'yo. Ito ang Information and Communications Technology Strand o ICT. Isa ang ICT sa mga strand ng Technical Vocational Livelihood Track. Sa strand na ito, makapupulot ka ng mga kapaki-pakinabang na kasanayan sa pagkukumpuni ng computer, programming, at paggamit ng iba't ibang software. Sa ICT Strand, pag-aaralan mo ang skills na magagamit mo sa paghahanap ng trabaho tulad ng software at hardware installation, computer programming at servicing, at contact center services. Para magtagumpay sa ICT Strand, dapat handa ka rin. Ilan sa mga katangian na kailangan sa ICT ay ang communication skills, organization, problem solving, troubleshooting, at project management. Bukod sa mga ito, maaari ka rin makakuha ng national certificates kung maipapasa mo ang competency-based assessment ng TESDA. Sa pag-graduate mo ng grade 12, magagamit mo ang national certificates na ito sa paghahanap ng trabaho, pagtatayo ng sariling negosyo, o pagsisimula ng mga livelihood program. Kung nais mo namang magpatuloy sa kolehiyo, maaari mo kunin ang mga kurso sa Information Technology, Software and Network Engineering, Electronics and Communications Engineering, at iba pa. Ano naman ang mga trabahong maaari mong pasukan pagkatapos ng kolehiyo? Maaari kang maging animator, IT specialist, programmer, computer engineer, at marami pa. Kung nais mo pa ng karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa ICT Strand o TVL Track, bisitahin lang ang www.edukasyon.ph at pumunta sa Senior High Track section.
Hello everyone. Thank you. Thank you again. Hello everyone. No? It's another exciting Thursday night with us here. So I hope everyone's well adjusted to being here online, and for those that are watching us on Facebook Live, hello as well, as we are currently interacting a lot with our audiences here at Zoom, right? If you're not in Zoom, and you want to join in Zoom, you should definitely check out our link so that you can find our Zoom link inside and participate inside as well, as there's more activity here that you could do if you are in Zoom, right? So before I begin, I'd like to introduce myself. So I'm your host for this Thursday. I know some of you have seen me around before, and it's been a while since I've been your host. Now, I'm your AWS community hero, and I'm also here at EdukasyonPH, right? So I hope everyone's well. So, you know, this has been a great journey so far. It has been several episodes already. No? Who can guess, right? Who can guess how many episodes we have done so far? All right, is there anyone in the chat just to guess how many episodes we've done so far? Right. Oy, we have some numbers here, 4, 9, right? Higher daw, higher, right? 10. So if you think about it, we've been online since August, right? So that's quite some time ago already, and we've been doing this every Thursday. 21, sobrang-sobra naman ang 21. But we will get there definitely, no? Yes, so Maxine, we are at the 12th episode already. And our episode for today is figuring it out, open source for dummies, and also for beginners and experts. No? So open source is for everyone. And that's why we like open source, no? And I just wanted to find out via React naman, React, no? If you are using Zoom or in Facebook, via React, if this is your first time or you've been here several times already. So if this is your first time, just do a thumbs up, React, no? And if you've been here a lot, no? Maybe the heart sign, right? Or the heart React. So if your first time, the thumbs up, and then if you've been here several times, the heart sign, no? Right, thank you. So we do see a couple of repeats already. I don't know what the laughing. Maybe it's I've seen the episodes. Maybe not live, but we've actually seen the episodes on YouTube and other social media platform. Okay, I'll ask again another React question, so we can find out from the audience. Right? Do you know that we are also visible on TikTok and LinkedIn? So if you've seen us in TikTok or LinkedIn, maybe you can give the wow, the open mouth emoji, no? If you've seen it already in LinkedIn or in TikTok. Yes, so we are very youthful in that sense, but we are on that platform as well. Our community managers are quite experts in showcasing their talents in TikTok. Right. So before we begin, or at least, before we formally go into our presentation, I'd like to thank first our co-organizer, that you can see here. And also, right, our co-organizer is AWS and AWS SIG Club. So this episode and the entire series is co-presented with them, and they have been very supportive with us and how we really can develop our IT industry here in the Philippines. And as I mentioned, when we talk about open source, right? Open source is for everyone, much like our co-presenter, Edukasyon, AWS, SIG Club. This is really for everyone. So I've actually prepared a short, so I'm now gonna share my screen. I'm gonna show you a short presentation on how AWS supports open source. So let me just share my screen very quickly so that I can give this particular short mini talk or lightning talk. So as I mentioned, open source is also available at AWS, right? So this, I'm also in the AWS User Group Philippines. And just again, to reiterate who I am, I have around 15 years of experience. I like the open source. Now you can see here that I use MySQL, Linux, PHP. That is my language of choice, my framework of choice. I am your community hero, and I've been certified since 2013. And for any startup out there that needs support, you can always reach out to me, right? And for those who are new and do not know what cloud computing is, basically this is just the delivery of resources over the cloud, over the internet, right? So on-demand delivery of resources. And what we're talking about is basically supporting infrastructure as a service, where instead of on-premise, where you have the physical hardware, now this time the cloud provider, such as AWS, will manage everything up to the virtualization. Now we just pick the operating system, like Linux, and up to the application. And then above, we can also use platform as a service, right? This time, we don't have to worry about the operating system. You just worry about the application and the data. And of course, we can be end users, software as a service, where we are the end user and we really just use the software as it is. And we also have function as a service, not very popularly termed, where we just basically upload bits of code and it will run for us. Now, when we're talking about open source, obviously, a lot of these software are open source, so they can run on AWS, but a lot of our open source will use either the platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. So AWS is one of the best places to build and run open source software. It has the most support for open source. Apache Kafka to MySQL to Linux to OpenTelemetry. No company has done more to make open source accessible to the widest possible audience, right? So if you're beginning, you have an open source project and you're cost conscious, right? That's why you are moving to open source. You can also host that on AWS free tier, where free tier offers up to 1 year, 250 hours per month of compute. You also have storage. You also have databases, okay, and many more. So you could host your own website for free up to 1 year using the free tier account in AWS. Okay, we also have always free services, right? So if you don't reach the cap, you will use it for free. So such as DynamoDB, CloudWatch, SQS, SNS, and a lot of these services, again, as I mentioned, if you optimize it well, you will not be paying for it because you are not hitting the quota. So for example, let's look at SQS. We can use millions of requests there without paying already. So this is something, it's very good for open source, as you can test out these services and you can host them here without paying using the free tier. So many, many more. You can check them out at aws.amazon.com/free. All right. And also, AWS and Amazon has over 1,000 plus Amazon-led projects on GitHub, right? So the engineers at AWS also contribute to thousands of open source communities on GitHub, Apache, Linux Foundation, and more. And here are just some of their projects. I'd like to enumerate some. So one is Babelfish for PostgreSQL. So if you are using a Microsoft SQL Server and you want to migrate or use Postgres instead, so instead of changing your entire application code base, you put Babelfish in between. So in your application, you'll be calling Babelfish. You won't need to rewrite your code. You just point to the Babelfish for it to act as a layer between your application into PostgreSQL. Now we also have the EKS distro. So for anyone running Kubernetes and they want to do things like EKS anywhere, run EKS and AWS together, you can do a hybrid model, on-premise and cloud as well. Okay, you can even have an operating system. Okay, it's contributed by AWS that is specialized for containers. So if you want to run a Linux-based operating system just for specially hosting containers, you can look at a Bottle Rocket OS or operating system. Okay, and if you want to have a lot of these open telemetry or basically collaborated or correlated metrics and traces, you can look at the AWS distro for open telemetry. Again, there's a lot more. No? If you want to create virtual machines for your containers or micro VMs, you also have Firecracker, right? So all of these, what I mentioned, is all open source. Even the controversial or the new one. So this one is OpenSearch. It is the predecessor to Elasticsearch. So this one is derived from the Elasticsearch and Kibana, right? So you can look at this. It's also open source. For those that are in the IoT space, okay, you can look at FreeRTOS. So this one is a microcontroller for your IoT devices. And lastly, if you're looking at infrastructure as code, you can look at AWS Cloud Development Kit, which supports JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Java, C#, and Go. So again, AWS is proud to support the open source projects, foundation, and partners, right? We believe that open source is good for everyone, and AWS is committed to bring the value of open source to the customers and the operational excellence of AWS to the open source communities. So as you can see, there's really a lot of effort into contributing to the open source, whether it is hosting them or running them on AWS or even contributing to the open source projects themselves. So that actually leads us to our main speaker for tonight, which is a professional web developer and an open source ambassador, right? So he also advocates for open source. He has been in the industry for around 8 years, and he is a founder of Open Source Software Philippines, or OSSPH, right? He's quite active as a creator in the Stripe Stripe community. He's a tech lead and tech lead volunteer. He's very active, no? And in spreading the good news of open source, right? You can see his GitHub, which he'll probably show it to you later, the link, and all of his other random code tips and ideas, right? And of course, he also really loves what he's doing. And by the way, he also loves cats. Just a short intro for him. So if I can welcome to the stage, Mr. Joff Tikes. Sir Joff.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sir Rafi, for introducing me. Yeah, so thank you also to AWS Club Pilipinas for having me here. So tama si Sir Rafi, no? Sobrang ganda ng open source. So before we start, guys, let me just share my screen. Can you guys see my presentation?
Yes, kanina, pero medyo nawala bigla. Right. And for our audience, again, if you have questions, you can always chat it, and we will entertain it, especially towards the end. No? But feel free to chat ahead para hindi mawala sa in thought, right? And so Joff, we are seeing it now.
All right. So yeah, thank you. Thank you.
May black box na nakagitna. Yan. O yun, nawala ulit. Yeah.
Okay, that was just my notes.
notes.
All right. Okay, sige. Okay, thank you guys for coming here. Hello sa mga nandito sa Zoom, and hello din sa mga nanonood sa atin sa Facebook. So yeah, open source for dummies, and as Sir Raf mentioned, hindi lang siya for dummies, no, for beginners and for everyone actually. So malalaman naman natin yung kung bakit. So yeah, let's begin. So I just want to introduce myself. So I am Joff Tikes, so founder of OSS.PH, and pretty much naman everything nasabi na ni Sir Rafi, no. So here are my links, and if you want to know more about me, nandiyan lang naman sa basically nandiyan lahat sa sa GitHub ko and sa website ko, makikita niyo. And if you need help, nandiyan you can reach me out on Twitter or sa GitHub. So nandun din yung mga contact information ko. So yeah, before we begin, so let's start with the classic question na ano nga ba yung open source. So according to Wikipedia, open source software or OSS is a computer software that is released under a certain license in which the copyright holder grants users the rights to use, study, change, and distribute the software and use its code to anyone and for any purpose. So yeah, dun pa lang makikita na natin na na sobrang straightforward lang naman yung meaning ng open source. So it's a direct opposite ng closed source na alam na rin naman natin, and so basically pag open source yung isang software, everything na we're just talking about the context dun sa code, no. So kapag open source yung isang software, nag-umpisa siya dun sa license, dun basically mag-determine kung ano yung pwede mong gawin dun sa software na to or dun sa piece of code. So but hindi naman na tayo kailangan mag deep dive doon sa topic nung about sa licenses. So we're just gonna cover the basic topics and yung importance nga ng open source. So but before we proceed, I would just like to share brief history nung open source. So I'm sure marami sa atin ang aware naman na sa status ng open source today, but it's unlikely na natitingnan natin, no, yung mga ganitong bagay. So actually, as early as the 50s, hindi pa nabubuo yung mga computers, and wala pang masyadong progress sa information technology. Yung idea ng collaboration is nandyan na. So it was started by Ford Motors. So yeah, you heard me right. Galing pa siya sa car industry. So basically at that time there was this company na gusto niya i-monopolize yung car industry, but then Ford Motors stood up for the rights ng mga ibang car manufacturer na makapag-collaborate. So as you can see doon pa lang, nandun na makikita natin yung kagustuhan ng mga tao na para mas maging maganda yung isang bagay, you have to collaborate kahit competitors kayo. So doon nag-umpisa yon, yung idea ng collaboration, and then in the 60s and the 70s, ito yung time na marami nang nire-release ng mga hardware, and may isang limitation yon sa maraming company. So yung mga gumagawa ng photocopy, mga ganun. So Xerox was present there, and then para maano nila, kumbaga ma-mitigate nila yung limitation nung machine, yung compatibility sa bawat mga devices. Ang ginagawa nila, sinasama nila yung mismong code, siniship nila kasama ng product. So para mabigyan ng freedom yung mga customers na i-modify or i-debug kung may mali dun sa software, or dagdagan ng functionality. So yun yung norm around that time. So that was 60s and 70s. So hindi yun masyadong nagtagal kasi pagdating naman ng 80s, so yan na, dumating na yung mga bagong era ng state ng software. So nandiyan na nagpasukan na sila Microsoft, sila IBM. So nung time na yon, gumawa sila ibang approach, ginawa nila kumbaga parang clean source nila yung software. So basically pag bumili ka ng isang computer or isang device na merong code, wala kang rights to tinker doon sa code na yon. So hindi mo siya pwedeng baguhin, kahit basahin hindi pwede. So ayun naman, hindi natin mababasa kasi binary yung mga siniship nila, no? And then maraming hindi natuwa doon sa mga ganong movement. Isa na doon si Richard Stallman. So siya yung isa sa mga pinakaunang advocate ng open source and free software. So basically merong isang incident na na-deny siya tsaka yung group niya ng access doon sa code or doon sa piece of software na sila mismo yung gumawa. So na-trigger siya doon, sabi niya that's unethical, hindi yan pwede, dapat free yung access sa mga codes. So doon na nag-umpisa yung movement na labanan yung mga closed source company saka yung idea na tinatago yung code. So kaya yon, ginawa niya doon yung GNU, saka tinayo niya yung Free Software Foundation. So to cut the story short, pag hindi pa nag-pick up yung yung progress. So umabot pa siya ng 90s. So yun na, pumasok na si Linus Torvald. So I'm sure familiar tayo lahat sa kanya, siya yung gumawa ng Linux kernel. So basically doon na yung naging parang totoong start ng open source. So mas pumasok na rin yung internet, mas naging dali na yung dumali na yung kumbaga collaboration between creators. So yun, yung Linux is just an evidence ng pag-boom ng open source software community, no? So yung Linux mismo, nanganak yan ng iba't ibang version ng Linux. So we have FreeBSD, we have OpenBSD, and sorry, na ano ata yung sharing?
Yes, medyo black screen na siya ulit ngayon.
Hold on. Parang may
nakikita namin yung mouse, no? Gumagalaw-galaw.
Yeah.
So stop na lang at share ulit. Right. And for everyone, again, for yung hindi naka-experience, no, Linux, it's very popular on the enterprise level, right? A lot of the servers are running on Linux.
Right.
Ayan. May black lang konti sa gitna. Yung parang may bar konti. Ayan, nawala.
Ayan, okay. Sige. Ayan, so tama si Sir Rafi. So yung actually tatanungin ko sana kayo kung kung nakagamit na kayo ng open source. But naisip ko sobrang pointless kasi 99% sure ako na lahat tayo nakagamit na or somehow nagbe-benefit sa open source. So yeah, we have yun nga, Ubuntu na and Debian na nanganak pa na mas maraming iba't iba pang mga distro or distributions ng Linux. So yeah, yun yung basic lang na short history ng Linux. Sobrang marami pang storya ng Linux ng open source. Sobrang marami pang story behind, pero kayo na bahalang mag-research if you're interested dun sa past ng open source. So with the current state naman, this is the present, no? So with the availability of Git in 2005 and GitHub in 2008, so bumaba yung kumbaga yung mga hadlang para makapag-collaborate yung mga tao. So nagkaroon ng internet, and then ginawa pinablik ni Linus Torvald yung Git, tapos nagkaroon ng GitHub. So nagkaroon ng mga iba't ibang channel. So bumaba yung yung parang percentage nung mga how would you say it? Parang hadlang na para makapag-collaborate yung mga developers, and yun nga, as we can see today, karamihan sa atin, especially yung mga developers, talagang tayo dyan, aware tayo na halos lahat makikita na natin sa GitHub. Of course, we also have GitLab, pero I think GitHub is more popular and mas maraming users sa kanila, no? So, and even billion dollar companies ay minsan they are powered by open source. Yun yung mga binabanggit na features kanina ni Sir Rafi ng AWS. So yun ay yung mga servers nila doon, I think they are also using Linux, so which is open source. So ayun naman yung kagandahan, mas dumali na yung pag-dive in doon sa open source. So this is just this small snapshot of sort nung parang pinaka state nung ngayon, ng open source ngayon. So we have open source software products from infrastructure up to applications. So napakadami. So ngayon pwede kang magtayo ng kumpanya, fully 100% open source lang yung ginagamit mo. So sa side ng infrastructure, we have Docker, yung mga popular, Red Hat for the servers, and then sa data analytics, of course, meron din MongoDB, MySQL, Redis Labs, yan, lahat yan ay available open source, and you can host them on your own server. Wala kang babayaran. Of course, yung mo lang, bill mo lang sa servers mo. And then developer platforms, we have GitHub, NPM, JetBrains, of course, ayan, familiar tayo lahat dyan, lalo na yung mga under developers. And then of course, sa side ng application, napakarami rin. So ang napapansin ko dun sa side ng applications, kapag merong isang company na paid yung product nila, the chances na meron siyang competitor na open source is malaki talaga. So for example, itong Mapbox. So if you need something like Google Maps, tapos ayaw mong gumastos ng malaki, they are offering a much cheaper alternative, so yung Mapbox. Yeah, just also to give you more example ng mga open source projects na I'm sure talagang sikat na sikat. WordPress, we also have Ghost Blog na medyo bago lang to, direct competitor din siya ng WordPress. And then we also have Vue.js, of course. So last topic natin dito sa AWS Club Pilipinas. Ignite Talks is yung about sa Vue.js. So yeah, open source din siya. And karamihan actually ng mga JavaScript framework ngayon is talagang open source, which leads us to the future state of the OSS. So yeah, you'll be surprised na 99% ng mga top tech companies sa mundo is gumagamit ng open source. So Facebook has React, Google, meron silang Android OS, and even Microsoft, na sila yung isa sa mga pasimuno diyan sa closed source na closed source industry na yan. Unti-unti na rin silang baga parang ino-open na rin nila yung mga solutions nila, and actually isa sila sa mga pinakamalaking sponsors ng Linux Foundation. So which is I think is a good thing, kasi doon makikita na natin na hindi na talaga nila mapipigilan yung paglaki ng open source. And actually hindi lang siya, kung isipin mo, hindi lang parang ganun lang siya, free, open, pero hindi. Open source industry is also a $1 million company, $1 million industry. So just to show you an example kung gaano kalaki gaano kabilis and yung progress ng mga open source companies, meron silang ditong anonymous data. So we have OSS company A, B, and C. So compared to other companies that are private, na-reach nila yung ARR nila in 100 million in just 2 years, actually 2.5 years for OSS A. For company B, 2.8 years, and 3.5 naman for company C. So makikita niyo sobrang competitive nung nung paglaki nila in terms of valuation. So compared doon sa mga closed source company na itong Cornerstone, umabot pa siya ng almost 11 years before niya yung ma-reach yung 100 million niya na ARR. So yeah, yung opportunity nandun talaga, and the money, of course. So what does this mean for Filipino developers? So let's start with the basic. Of course, we know na it's a great learning environment. So if you're a beginner, matututo kang magbasa ng code ng iba kapag nagko-contribute ka sa open source, and also yourself, sisikapin mo mas gumanda yung code mo para maging readable sa iba kung gusto mo mag-contribute dun sa project mo. So basically it promotes high standard code. And yung collaboration, so ito medyo given naman, collaboration with world-class developers. So me myself na-experience ko rin na makipag-collaborate with yung mga rockstars talaga na developer dun sa mga project nila, and nakaboost yun ng confident, and marami kang matututunan kapag nakaka-collaborate ka ng mga magagaling talaga na developers. And mararanasan mo lang yun, of course, with open source. Tapos of course yung opportunities tsaka yung profile recognition. So dito rin nag-i-start yan eh. So pinapayo ko nga actually dun sa mga in-interview ko kapag nagtatanong sila na parang humingi sila ng advice, ano ba yung maganda nilang gawin, ganyan. Ang laging sinasabi, mag-start sila ng open source project. Kasi doon mo makikita yung dedication ng isang tao. And of course, maganda nga yan sa profile ninyo. Marami kayong projects dun sa GitHub nyo. Kapag nag-apply kayo, pinakita nyo, mas appealing. At least for me. So yeah, of course, monetary support. So meron mga open source projects na nakakatanggap ng monetary support from companies and dun sa mga users na natutuwa talaga dun sa project nila. So yeah, it's a good thing. Tapos network, of course, ako sa marami akong nakilala na ng mga developers dito sa startup sa open source industry, and talagang mabuboost yung connection mo. So yeah, overall naman great opportunity. So siguro yun yung gusto ko talagang sabihin. Yeah. So yung next natin, bago ko i-introduce yung organization namin, I just want to introduce some of yung mga notable na mga Filipino open source developers. So silipin natin yung mga gawa nila. So ito yung mga so this is Sir Rico Santa Cruz. So I don't know if you guys know him, pero you can follow him on GitHub. Andyan yung profile niya. Siya yung gumawa nung PNPM tsaka DevHints and many more. So yung PNPM para siyang it's a package manager. So para siyang NPM tsaka Yarn, pero mas mabilis according to their benchmark. So mga gumagamit nito, Microsoft, UJS, malalaking international companies din. So as you can see, meron siyang 13,000 stars, so very popular. So Pinoy made. And also ito, yung DevHints.io, ako mismo gumagamit din ako nito. So basically this is parang collection of cheat sheets. So dikita nyo dito, meron siyang para sa Bash, ayan, sa React, SAS, Vim. So yeah, pag nakakalimutan ko minsan yung mga command sa Vim, bumabalik ako dito para tingnan. So yeah, it's Pinoy made and recognized internationally. We also have Sir Warren Gonzaga. So you can follow him on GitHub. Ito yung profile niya. So siya yung gumawa ng Wi-Fi Pass View saka Buy Me a Coffee JS. So yung Wi-Fi Pass View naman is pang-recover siya ng Wi-Fi password for Windows. So yun, for lang siya, batch script siya. I think tinignan ko yung code. Pero yeah, pang-recover siya ng very useful. And then Buy Me a Coffee JS. So yung turns out yung Buy Me a Coffee, wala silang official na Node client. So gumawa si Sir Warren ng Node.js client, and almost official na nga siya actually. So yeah, Pinoy made. We also have Sir Robert Soriano. Siya yung gumawa ng COVID 3D. I'm sure sobrang sumikat to nung last year. I think nakita nyo na talaga to. So yan yung ginawa niya, and it's open source. So parang nagko-crawl siya ng mga data from other API, din i-display niya ng ganito. And so you can see the site here on the lower left. Si Sir Trin Marboado, siya yung isa rin sa mga advocate ng open source. So I met him in Philippine Mobile and Web Developers Group. So gumawa siya ng sarili niyang database, tinawag niya TrinDB. So nandiyan it's also open source, makita niyo sa GitHub niya. You can contribute if you want. And then ito, Ink HTML. So this is framework agnostic na print helper. So kung meron kang gustong i-print sa specific na part lang ng page mo, yun lang yung mapiprint using this plugin. So pwede mo siyang gamitin sa Vue, Angular, and React. And of course, kung kaya ng mga lalaki, of course, kaya rin ng mga kasama nating female developers. So we have Miss J. Hernandez. Andyan yung GitHub niya, you can follow her. Tapos, ito yung dalawang gawa niya na sobrang natuwa talaga. O favorite ko tong gawa niya. So, she made Letra and yung The Good Place. So, yung Letra parang basically isa siyang Chrome extension na kapag every time magbukas ka ng tab, may lalabas na random word ng kung ano yung gusto mong pag-aralan na language. And then may translation and also on audio on how to pronounce that word. So nandyan. So sobrang cool nung project na to and available siya sa GitHub. Pwede kayong mag-contribute. Tapos yung The Good Place. So para dun sa mga familiar sa GitHub Action. So basically pag nag-comment ka or gumawa ng pull request tapos may bad words ka na kinabit dun sa comment mo, kapalitan niya yun. So yung mga ganong klaseng So it's fun and useful at the same time. So here's the GitHub link. And of course, hindi po tayo papahuli. So, yan. Ito yung mga work ko na proud talaga ako. So, yung Vue Stripe, Paymongo, saka yung Vue Animate CSS. So, these are just 3 of my favorites dun sa lahat ng mga ginawa ko. Vue Stripe, so Vue Stripe is a Vue.js component and collection of plugins for Stripe.js. So, ito yung pinakamalaking project ko na nag-open talaga sa akin sa lahat ng malalaking opportunities sa open source. So you can visit the website here on vuestripe.com. So if you ever na kailangan nyo mag-implement ng Stripe, pwede nyo gamitin the project na to. And of course, you can contribute. Paymongo for Node.js. So ito rin, wala kasing official library si Paymongo for Node.js. So yun, gumawa lang tayo para magamit din ng for personal use and of course for everyone. And Vue Animate CSS. So basically this is just a wrapper for Animate CSS if you're familiar dun sa sa CSS library na to, and if you want to use it on Vue.js, ito yung plugin na para sa inyo. So yeah, with all those, I hope na inspire namin kayo na to explore open source. So at Open Source Software Philippines, so basically we are a developer-led initiative to grow community of developers building open source software across the Philippines. So yung pinaka-inspiration ko to that led me to start this group is yung nakita ko na sobrang laki ng opportunities sa open source community. And I myself nakakuha ko ng funding, naka-open ng mga bagong connections, and naisip ko na bakit ako lang yung nakaranas nito. I'm sure maraming Filipino developers na kayang-kaya rin yung ginagawa ko. And I want to share yung experience, saka maibigay din sa kanila yung same na opportunity na nararanasan ko. So, kasi alam ko kaya ng mga Pilipino magagaling tayo. And by starting this group, I hope it leads to something big na magiging to pave the way for future developers, lalong-lalo na sa mga kasama natin dito na nag-uumpisa pa lang sa Zoom and sa mga nanonood sa Facebook. So, yung goals ng initiative nito is palakihin talaga yung community, magkaroon ng solid na community ng collaboration and para magkaroon din ng mabigyan ng proper na support yung mga nag-uumpisa pa lang, ma-highlight yung mga developers natin, and may connect sila dun sa mga potential na backers and na pwedeng local or pwedeng international companies, no? So depende naman dun sa mga projects na ginagawa ninyo. So yung mga plans namin moving forward ay hopefully very soon magkaroon ng mga virtual meetups, trainings and seminars para sa mga OSS maintainers, lalo na dun sa mga bago na gusto mag-umpisa. Tsaka yun, as mentioned, yung pagko-connect ng mga OSS maintainers to local international companies para mabigyan naman ng, kasi libre na nga di ba? Libre na natin binibigay yung work natin for everyone to use. Pero hindi dapat doon natatapos yun kasi it's a community, it's an ecosystem, dapat umiikot yung opportunity, umiikot dapat yung yung give and take lang kumbaga. So, yeah. So, kung gusto nyong mag-umpisa, interested kayo to join us. Actually, starting today, we are recruiting members. So, kailangan namin ng mga katuwang dito sa OSS.PH para masakatuparan syempre yung mga plans namin and mas makatulong pa sa mga bagong developers. And hindi na nila maranasan yung naranasan namin nung nag-umpisa pa lang kami. So basically, we want to pave the way for you guys. So join us. So without our help, you can start naman with open source. So ito yung mga simple tips ko lang kung paano kayo makapag-start sa open source. So ito medyo late na kasi napatapos na yung October po. Pero every year, DigitalOcean is hosting Hacktoberfest. So every October nagkakaroon sila ng event na kung saan pwede kang manalo or maka-gain ng mga swags from them and from their sponsors basta makakagawa ka lang ng successful na pull request. So basically pag ginawa mo to, ma-open ka rin sa mga ibang project, mababasa mo yung code nila and okay siya na start. So meron pa kayong 3 days para sumali. It's too late but meron pa naman next year. So start a project. So kahit lang, kahit yung mismong website nyo, profile nyo, gawin nyo, kabit nyo siya sa GitHub, ilagay nyo lang doon. And then kung may makakita niyan, of course, so magka-interest sila doon sa gawa nyo, pwede niyang improve, may makita silang mali, tutulungan nila kayo. At the same time, tayo rin, pwede tayong, hindi pa kayo komportable mag-upload ng project nyo sa GitHub, pwede kayong mag-contribute sa mga existing projects na. So pwede kayong basahin nyo yung documentation, basahin nyo yung codes, tingnan nyo pag may makita kayong mali or something na pwedeng improve, collaborate lang. Tapos improve lang. Tapos gawa kayo ng PR, ganyan. So contribute lang. And if emerge yun nung may-ari nung author ng code, so masarap siya sa feeling. So these are just 3 tips para makapag-start kayo, pero if you want more more detailed tips, pwede niyo mga kami lapitan para matulungan namin kayo. So by the way guys, palike na lang nung Facebook page namin, so you can message me there and our team para matulungan namin kayo sa pag-start sa open source. So wala na, finish na. I think we can proceed with the Q&A now, Sir Rafi.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. Very inspiring, no? And in fact, meron tayong first question agad, no? I'm not sure if you can answer this, but the first question is yung sa PayMongo Node.js project supported by yung Gcash. So maybe ang question dito is like, either meron bang Gcash na Node.js din kang ginawa, or meron ba, or through PayMongo, if alam mo lang, no? Kung may Gcash integration.
Yes. Of course, PayMongo actually has Gcash and I think GrabPay integration, and available naman siya doon sa sa documentation nila, sorry. Pero you can use PayMongo Node.js kung kailangan mo to implement that. It's available.
Right. So it's available, Alan. So everyone else, if you have questions, feel free to chat it here in our Zoom, and I think we also have our community managers also looking out if you have questions in Facebook Live, if you're watching it Facebook Live. May delay lang konti sa Facebook Live, so I think may mga like maybe 10 to 15 seconds delay. So I have a personal question also, which is when we are looking for these open source software, as a lot of communities are able to contribute, what do you look for? Like for example, you're looking for a solution. What are some of the criteria you say, itong project na to ay active, no? What are, like, this is something I want to contribute to or I should use, hindi siya magiging abandonware, no?
Right. That's actually a good question, Sir Rafi. So, normally, makikita naman natin yung kunyari, naghahanap tayo ng isang plugin or something na gusto natin gamitin for our application or for our product. Unang-unang, ako personally, unang-unang ko tinitingnan yung number of stars. So, gaano ba siya ka-popular? So, kapag ini-start kasi ng mga developers yung isang project, ibig sabihin na gusto nila or it's something na maganda for them. And pag nakita natin na thousands na yung stars ng isang project, it's meaning relatively it's something good. And tinitingnan ko rin yung yung issues, yung kung kailan yung last issue, tsaka number of issues na open, tsaka kailan yung huling commit doon sa project. So by those information makikita natin kung kailan siya huling in-update. So maybe it's stable kaya siguro kaya medyo few months ago pa, parang ganyan. So pero makikita naman natin yun doon. So yun yung mga importanteng information na dapat natin tingnan. So number of stars, medyo subjective naman yun pero yung the latest commit kailan ba? Tapos yung number of issues, so kung sobrang daming nakabukas na issues diyan tapos walang nag-aasikaso, hindi yan well-maintained na project. So better maghanap ka ng ibang alternative. Yeah.
Right. Ito, yan, dumadami na yung mga tanong, no, na simulan na natin. So our next question is, kapag nag-contribute ka ng isang project galing kay Rika, pwede mo na bang isama sa credentials mo yun? Like kung readme.txt lang or readme.md lang, pwede na ba siyang ma-prod ka na ba doon? Ano yung may criteria ka ba?
Yeah, actually, this is a good question, and then sometimes na talaga to, kini-question to ng marami, no, na merong parang some sort of discrimination. Readme lang naman yung ginawa mo, ganito ganyan. Pero for me, it's not a big deal kung kahit ganun lang ginawa mo. I mean, it's a big deal in a sense na nakapag-contribute ka and you did something doon sa kahit maliit na problem na ang daming tumitingin, walang gumagawa. And ikaw, you did something to improve that documentation or whatever. Kahit isang letter lang tinanggal mo diyan o nagdagdag ka lang ng dot diyan, walang problema. Yun yung essence ng open source, yung pagtutulungan. So, yung mga nagsasabi sa atin na ganyan lang naman yung ginawa mo, ganyan. Sabihan na lang natin sila na dapat ikaw yung gumawa. De biro lang, masama yun. Pero yeah, it's kung nag-contribute kayo sa isang project, yeah, pwede niyo no matter gaano kaliit yung yung pull request na kinabit niyo doon. You can put it on your credentials.
Right, definitely, no. Basically, every contribution matters, no.
Yes.
Kahit maliit, malaki. But of course, when you're talking it, if na-interview kayo at tinanong, wag niyo namang i-claim din yung contributions ng iba, di ba? So also be humble to what you contributed. Okay, we have our next question. Ito, regarding naman sa FOSS in education. This is a good question, no?
Yeah, FOSS for education. Actually, medyo obvious na yung magiging sagot ko diyan. Sobrang ko diyan, isa yan sa mga gusto kong i-push. So basically, mga goal din kasi nung OSS.PH is to create projects na magagamit na basically may impact sa community. And we know na dito sa atin, isa sa pinakamalaking problema natin is education. And free open source software naman is talagang I mean, why not, 'di ba? Kung pumasok siya sa mga standards nung let's say kahit sabi nating private sector ito or government, kung pumasok siya dun sa standards nung entity na mag-a-acquire nung pre-op nung FOSS na 'yon is why not? Kasi chances are hindi siya ma-maintain, you still have the code, pwede niyo i-maintain on your own. So actually maganda siya for me.
Right. Next naman, we have a question. Thank you, Luis. No. Next, we have a question from Daniel, which is, boss, ano yung do's and don'ts when uploading an OSS to GitHub? I'm guessing baka new OSS to, no?
Right. Okay. So wala naman if you're a total beginner, I'd say wala namang technically mali. Uh, uh, Kumbaga parang you will learn it on your own naman pag nakita mo na ganito ganyan. So kung mag-upload ka ng project, so may basic na checklist lang I can give kung kung may mga kailangan sa inyo, just reach out to me. Wag lang siguro yung mga offensive ng mga projects kasi siyempre it's a public thing. We don't own the space. Maraming tumitingin diyan. So yun yung pinaka-basic siguro is the etiquette to maglagay tayo ng mga decent enough na mga project in terms of dun sa in a moral sense siguro. And then for yung mga technical criteria for do's and don'ts, medyo magba-vary siya kasi kung kunyaring ang i-upload mo is a Node project, meron siyang sariling set ng mga kailangan mo sundan, of course. And then for other types of projects naman, for example, kung Android yan or iOS yan, meron din siyang mga sariling standards or kung ano yung mga basic na kailangan mong isama at wag isama. Pero yung pinaka-universal siguro is if magre-require yung application naman ng mga secret keys or mga bagay, yun yung mga huwag nyo i-upload kasi makikita ng iba. So just use git ignore para i-exclude siya doon sa pag-upload.
Right, tama yan, no? Yung mga access credentials, huwag talaga ilagay sa git yan. Kasi meron tayong mga malicious dyan na script yung mga git dyan. Kahit a few seconds lang, na-upload mo na yan, biglang, ang dami mo ng servers na launch bigla, no? Right. Oo. Siguro our last question na lang, no? We know naman kasi our GitHub or Git or these platforms are used a lot for building portfolio for placed in your resume for application to jobs. So what are your best practice recommendation for newbies para gamitin to?
Right. Kung gusto mong kumbaga parang i-upgrade yung profile mo by creating projects tapos gusto mo yung open source. So basically maipayo ko is gumawa ka ng simple. Kasi yung nagiging challenge kasi ng iba dito is parang ayaw nilang gawin tong something kasi meron na daw gumawa. Parang ganun. But for me, hindi naman dapat maging problema yun kasi hindi mo naman ginawa yun para makipag-compete sa kanila. Ginawa mo yung project mo to showcase your knowledge, to showcase your approach kung paano ka magtrabaho. So basically, kung gagawa ka ng isang project like kahit to-do list lang yan na may check and basta ang pinakatutukan mo is of course the visuals and then yung paano mo talaga siya ginawa, yung logic behind nung kasi yun yung titingnan ng mga employers Hindi naman namin titingnan niya. Kasi ako minsan ganun, tinitingnan ko yung visuals medyo maliit lang naman na part pero kahit anong project na ginawa nila, kahit may mga pare-parehas na paulit-ulit na yun na to-do list or something, titingnan ko yung loob niyan, doon ko i-base yung judgment ko kumbaga. So, yeah, gawa ka lang ng something na very basic na para ma-showcase mo yung yung skills mo. Focus on the quality.
Thank you for that, no? And siguro one last question from me naman to, not from the audience, no? Siguro I wanted to ask, kailan ka magfo-fork versus magko-contribute sa original project?
Right. Okay. That's
yeah, yun yung tanong ko.
So that's a very good question, sir. So basically, kung kailan ka magde-decide na mag-fork and kailan ka meron kasing dalawang types ng pag-fork. Una, of course, i-fork mo yung project with the intent to contribute. So i-fork mo, gagawin mo muna sa sarili mo and then ipo-push mo sa or PPR mo dun sa that's one. Yung isang type naman na fork is gusto mong gumawa ng isang malaking change tapos na for yourself or for your organization na ayaw mo namang masama na doon sa original, parang ganun. So yun yung isang and kung kailan, so yung question yung answer is kapag ka mag-contribute ka lang pero yung isa para sa pangalawang type kung kailan mo gagawin is basically based to base case to case based naman yun. Parang I remember na na experience ko na tong ganitong bagay. So we were using this technology tapos abandoned na siya. Tapos wala na kaming mahanap and wala na kaming time to write it on our own. So what we did is, since nandun naman yung project, pinork namin sa sarili naming repository, doon namin in-improve, doon namin ginawa. Kasi hindi na kami pwedeng pull request doon sa original kasi wala nang point, wala na mag-accept eh. So kaya ginawa namin, pinork namin, and then we did the customizations and the upgrades na kailangan namin. So yun, sir.
Thank you so much, Joff, for that insight. So to everyone, again, we're about to close right now. So I'll just share a couple of screens and also some videos. So again, one of the questions, where do we get started? Learnings, hands-on, certification, both, of course. These are the questions. So again, when we're talking about learning, you can look at here at our webinar, our series, the SIC Club, the Facebook. You also have LMS, such as AWS training, instructor, workshops. Soon to be, Sir Joff, as they mentioned, they will have also workshops dedicated, instructor-led trainings. And certification. So basically, ito naman knowledge in terms of yourself, And of course, don't forget itong hands-on, Again, very important na hindi lang tayo theory na ina-apply din natin itong ating pinag-aralan, right? So if you can, create POCs, proof of concepts, projects, right? Basically get your hands dirty, kumbaga, like I said, use free tier. Kung gusto niyo ng servers na walang bayad, up to 1 year pa nga. So ako, I'd like to just mention this, actions justify your words. So yung project mo will justify na marunong ka talaga. And kung marunong ka talaga, it will show na through the actions, right? So basically, don't limit yourself in that sense. And I'd also like to share to you that immediately after this, right, we have the AWS UG Build Hers as well. So this user group is dedicated or more inclusive to our female developers out there, yung mga open source female developers. Here we can see, Alexa app natin. We also have migration, and we also have Redshift, right? So I will invite everyone also after this webinar. Please visit out the AWS UG Build Hers Plus and attend that as well. And we'll paste the link in the chat as well. But wag muna ngayon kasi mag-e-end pa lang tayo ngayon. So in around 5 minutes, ipopost din namin to sa inyo. So again, I'd like to thank again Sir Joff. And again, we'll also like to thank our supporters, our attendees for being here. Any last few words, Sir Joff, before we end?
Right. So yun guys, salamat dun sa mga umattend, sa mga nanood sa Facebook, and sa mga nagtanong. Maraming maganda yung mga insights na tinanong niyo, nakapagbigay tayo ng mas detailed information for our viewers. And again, please do reach us kung meron kayong mga kailangan. Ilagay ko na lang yung Facebook page namin dito sa chat, if that's okay. And just email me, and if you want to know more about us, you can just follow our page. And yun guys, salamat. See you on our future projects.
Yes,
Thank you.
And of course, everyone, don't forget, this happens every Thursday, right? And so you could definitely follow our social media. And if I can invite our technical director to show our social media links as well. Ayan, so join the community. Again, AWS SIC Club Pilipinas, we've been running this since August, right? So matagal-tagal na, and we see this happening more and more as well. Right, so stay in touch with us. Here's our QR code. We'll show you all the social media presence that we have: TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. Right, so ang dami nating pwedeng to collaborate with together, And of course, this is co-presented with Edukasyon in partnership with AWS and AWS SIC Club as well. So again, thank you everyone for being here. And afterwards, please don't forget to also answer our CSAT, right? So we can have feedback from you. Again, contribute to this community so that we know what you like, what you didn't like, no? Gusto niyo bang habaan? Gusto niyo bang iksian? Maganda ba yung suot namin? And clear ba yung audio? So any feedback is good, very good for us, no? And for those asking about eCert, if you answer our feedback, we will get through the feedback, we will know your email and your information. So again, those who wish to get an eCert for attendance, please answer the CSAT. Right, so again, thank you everyone. And for those that would wish to attend the Build Hers Plus, this is the link as well. Thank you everyone and good night.
To reinvent your business, you need a new approach to data. AWS helps you modernize your data infrastructure, unify your data with the best of both data lakes and purpose-built data stores, and innovate new experiences and reimagine old processes with artificial intelligence and machine learning. As the most scalable, trusted, and secure cloud provider, AWS offers the broadest range of purpose-built databases to help you start your data infrastructure modernization. Break free from old guard databases that lock you into proprietary technology, impose punitive licensing terms, and require you to perform frequent audits. Get the performance, availability, and security of your high-end commercial databases at 1/10 the cost with Amazon Aurora, a MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible engine built for the cloud. For database infrastructure that runs on-premises or self-managed in the cloud, the easiest way to reinvent your operations is to move to a fully managed database service, which automates the time-consuming tasks of setting up, managing, and scaling workloads. AWS supports popular relational and non-relational data types through services like Amazon RDS, Amazon Document DB, Amazon Elasticache, and more. And when you're ready to start something new, AWS helps you build modern apps to support your most demanding workloads and innovate faster by offering a choice of more than 15 fully managed, purpose-built databases. From relational CRM to streaming IoT and social data, AWS helps you choose the right database for the right job, delivering experiences that delight your customers. Start reinventing your business today using the broadest selection of purpose-built databases from AWS to save, grow, and innovate faster.
And again, thank you everyone. So for those that missed the CSAT, we'll flash it again and also paste it here in the chat for the link. So again, we'll just flash the CSAT as well, or feedback form, and paste it in the link as well.